gives a big credibility curve for the new talent to say, hey, I got to make sure I'm spending more time with other folks in the organization to really learn more about the job, because there are certain things I might be able to teach them about technology, but there's no substitute for relationships and interpersonal development of skills.
Welcome to the Leader's Edge podcast. I'm Sandy Laycox, editor-in-chief of Leader's Edge. In this two-part podcast series, I talk with Chris Sparro, CEO of North America for Sampo Commercial P&C Insurance. Our conversation covers talent and training, focusing in on the newest generation in the insurance industry, the skills they bring to the table, and the areas in which they are looking to learn. We start with a look at the diversity of backgrounds coming into the industry and what tech skills they are bringing with them.
The industry continues to grow, right? And so it's amazing on how many people today want to join the insurance industry, right? And you're bringing in a lot of new people. They're coming in with very much accredited from their institutions, right? So really good skill set, whether it's direct around risk management and those programs, or it's more around finance. But you're still seeing a lot of diversity from liberal arts, engineering. People are realizing that, I guess, in absence of being a doctor, the insurance you could take a degree into the insurance industry from a well-accredited university or college and apply it to the skills that you've learned there that you like, and apply it to something in the world of insurance, which I think is terrific. And it gives that opportunity for people to come in and do that. The challenge that really arises out of it is that this generation of new talent coming in has relied upon technology to help them advance. Some of it we could even put to COVID, right? Because when you think about a lot of the new talent today was either in the later years of high school or maybe the early years of college. That dependency of technology to learn, to interact with teachers, to still feel like you're part of a class, really put a different way for them of how that technology could help them advance their career, as opposed to prior to that, with even kids of my own, that technology was more enjoyment. It was social. It was, but now that technology really got into an education world, which was helping them to prepare for real life experiences. It helped them to get into college, right? The colleges, because of how they had the testing and the things that went on. And then for when they're in colleges, trying to just interview for a variety of different jobs with companies. So the technology has a different shift, I think, for that newer talent today than it did pre-COVID. Putting that aside, while our business and insurance as an industry continues to grow, the primary view of how the insurance community works is still direct engagement, right? And having the opportunity to have people interact face to face, in person, so that you can actually exchange information, build relationships, experience culture, has to happen. Yeah. And you have a group of people coming in. I've relied so much on technology in a world that didn't really promote people coming together, is really their biggest challenge, because they're not sure how to balance the two, right? And as a result of that, we spend a lot of time at our organization in particular trying to create an environment where there is a good balancing of not only time and effort, but learning and development to really allow them to learn those skills. But as you're thinking about those people and you're bringing in new talent, we try to also use an intern program to help subsidize that training program. So it's their first opportunity to get to see what a real life work experience looks like as an intern. And so how are you taking the laptop on your desk that our talent coming in is very proficient around using spreadsheets and Word documents, and they can navigate through a host of work much quicker than, let's call it, the generation or two above them in age that still kind of struggles their way through that, right? So that the technological skill set is so advanced, and the knowledge that they've acquired through the use of this technology is been obvious that they rely on that a lot. Yeah. And what you're trying to open their awareness to is that while it's still a strong foundation for you, it's not the only foundation that you need in order to start to develop a career. and think about where that career might take you, and what are the important aspects of building a career that you need to be able to align yourself with. Some of it is obviously technical language of the job that you're in, so you can become proficient with it. But part of it's also building a network, building a base of people that you can rely on. And so for us, as we're bringing in new talent, we're trying to show both sides
Mm-hmm.
to create an environment that says, okay, you can learn something new off of these enhanced skill sets that you've developed during your collegiate years.
Mm-hmm. So you've got them coming in, and in the same organization, you have another generation of talent that is kind of in the opposite realm a little bit. So they've built those interpersonal skills up over their entire career and now have to transition into using the tools, the technology as well. Can you talk a little bit about how you work with those folks at the same time and how that as a culture, what does that look like?
Yeah, it's actually it's a lot of fun, right? Because you've identified two groups, but there is another group that sits there as well, which is the group in between them.
Mm-hmm.
So, as you could well imagine, for new talent coming in, they could sit here and talk to me about a job, a career, opportunities, and it's not going to relate as directly to them as if someone, which maybe is 2 to 5 years older than what they are, right? That they could directly look at and say, okay, I knew where they were 2 to 5 years ago, and now they are there. Like there's a bridge, right?
Yeah.
That they're going to listen to and say they get more about me than the more senior people who they probably look at as more like parental figures as opposed to colleagues, right? So you try to bring both in together when you're introducing new talent in. And when we do our training class, we have our training class for 2 years, and we've really tried to create a collegiate viewpoint of that class, saying that, okay, for the next 2 years, while you'll be working in different departments and in different functions, you're still part of a class, which is what they've been associated with in high school and college. So it gives them a sense of comfort, it gives them a sense of familiarity, but they also have a sense of curiosity, which is, well, what is the most recent classes that were before us? How have they done?
Yeah.
How do they like the company? How do they like their jobs? What have been their challenges? What have been their opportunities? So for those new recruits or the new talent that we bring in, we have them spend a lot of time with similar classes that have been before them for the last 2 or 5 years, just to gain that perspective. And what you wind up finding, what happens is that the knowledge transfer of that group with the new talent then they start to bridge them to, I'll call it, that next generation up, because that 2 to 5 year window period is talking about all the positive experiences and the relationships that they built with that older generation.
Yeah.
So it kind of validates for the new talent the need to want to spend time with that older generation, because they could see the more recent successes of colleagues that they want to be in 2 to 5 years from, and draw from that. So it gives a big credibility curve for the new talent to say, hey, I got to make sure I'm spending more time with other folks in the organization to really learn more about the job, because there are certain things I might be able to teach them about technology, but there's no substitute for relationships and interpersonal development of skills to bridge and build those relationships so that they're sustainable over a long period of time.
That was Chris Sparro, CEO of North America for Sampo Commercial P&C Insurance. I hope you enjoyed our conversation. Keep a lookout for part 2 of our conversation coming out soon.